Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back for another day of the Pinnacle Cup #2. My name is X-Ray, of course, with the beautiful Wild Daddy. This time he's actually wearing a white shirt. It's the first I see him do just that, but it's looking beautiful on you, man. I've got to say.
Thank you.
But other than that, we have a couple of teams, a couple of matches that the two of us at least, will be casting today, and another couple after that. But the first one, to start off this yet brand new day, this beautiful dawn, it's actually quite sunny outside. I love it. Entropiq versus mouz NXT. And how do you feel about that, Wild Daddy?
Yeah, this is definitely some proving grounds right here, because mouz NXT, there's a team that was relatively recently formed. You know, we really haven't seen them in action too much, but they're a team that has shown a lot of promise. You know, they have some formidable names. They've got Torji under their belt now. They've got JDC, so names like that, and of course having some of the old Izako Boars players like Shui and Shen. That, of course, does show some promise. But the problem, of course, is that Entropiq, they're no slouches at all. They're a team that won't allow any underdog victories. They don't often fall to underdogs, and that's why this matchup is so particularly exciting for me. I want to see if mouz NXT, if they can hit the road running, if they can come out swinging to start things off in this little lineup. But I do think that they might be facing too much of a roadblock when it comes to Entropiq.
Yeah, I think you might be right. And I think this is a tournament where Entropiq may start to kind of staple themselves as something even greater than the best of the rest. You can see this lineup, they are star players across the board. And of course, by having Hooch as their coach, they've only succeeded by getting greater. If you guys have lived under a rock for the past few months, you'll know these guys, you'll perhaps know these guys as EPG family, as Winstrike, ex-Winstrike. They've gone through a couple of organizations, or also gone through a trouble finding an org. But I think under Entropiq, they found comfort. They found a brand new home, and they're enjoying it. Now what they need to do is kind of push themselves over the whole quotation mark of being in that tier 2 scene and actually push further, just like Gambit Youngsters did a few months ago, and now pulled ahead now in the top of the league, in the top of the standings across the board in Counter-Strike. And I think Entropiq has the potential to do that. I just want to see more consistency from them, and this tournament is exactly where they can do just that.
Yeah, Entropiq have definitely solidified themselves as major parts of the top 20 scene. Of course, they are on that world rank 17 at the moment, so it does. Now they've proven themselves. But who really needs to prove themselves right now is mouz NXT. Of course, you know, having an up-and-coming team, you've got all these new you've got all these players that are, well, the team is new, but the players are not. Okay, so this is a bit of a question mark for me. You know, these players, we haven't really seen them in action together at all. We've only seen a couple of games, but the games that they have played, I know that they've been able to beat out Spirit Academy. So there is something to go off of, but at the same time, I'm really interested in seeing this. And one of the dynamics I really wanted to focus on was Torji versus Elian, because in this game, you have to recognize that Entropiq, largely their success comes from Elian being such a formidable opper. When you have a player like Torji on the other side, you can see his rating 2.0. I mean, every time he goes absolutely nuts on the server, 1.3 rating isn't something that you accidentally end up with. It comes through consistent performances throughout the past 3 months. So with a fragger like that, I'm interested in seeing if whether or not he can single-handedly overpower the powerhouse that is Elian. Because oftentimes, even top 20 teams, they struggle to put a band-aid on the problem that is Elian. And unfortunately for them, I think even for mouz NXT, that might be the case, because you can have an outstanding play like Torji, but until you show us some promise, I'm not sure if they can truly work around his prowess.
Absolutely, and I'm sure we've got the veto ready for you as well to see how this one will go ahead. I think this whole situation is a really interesting one, especially seeing how close the tier 2 scene has been as of recently, and mouz now being a new member in the scene as a mouz NXT. I mean, as a new squad. I want to see where they sort of line up in the whole ordeal, because as officials they haven't really shown too much. But let's have a look. Dust 2 being the first one for mouz NXT. Entropiq picking Ancient. I love that. Nuke as the decider. Any surprises here, Wild Daddy?
Not too many, but I'm not so sure about Ancient. You know, you've got a new roster, you're directly heading into the deep end of the pool, but this is a double-edged sword. On one hand, yes, it's going to be uncomfortable to start a new map. If you have some chemistry already, if you have communication protocol set up, then it's a lot easier to dig into a new map. But at the same time, if you're a new team, you're like, you know what? We've got a chance to start fresh. Instead, we can try to beat out an established team with a new roster on unfamiliar grounds, because they can't really do anything about the unfamiliarity, which is their communication at the moment, since they're new. But they can have the map under their control. So maybe if they have a lot more practice on that and they rely on Entropiq being a little bit more unfamiliar as well, that can still end up working out in their favor. But Dust 2, yeah, there isn't really a point of comparison to be made. All we can really say here is the fact that Entropiq, they're incredibly comfortable on Dust 2, which is where I think mouz NXT are going to struggle, and it will further exaggerate the importance of the AWP duels that we will be seeing on the server. Alien versus Torshi, once those mid doors are wide open, is going to be a lot harder for Torshi to cross, and vice versa.
Yeah, I can hear you very loud and clear, Aldadi. I think you know who the favourites are in this endeavour, and I will not question you whatsoever. But I think as well, you might as well put a point to mouz trying to find where their strengths lie, right? This is only the testing ground for them. This is only the starting period. Although I know that there's a lot of regions that have research and reasons to why this squad is how it is, having the duo Shui and Shane from Izako Balls, having the likes of Torchi as well, as you mentioned, putting himself in a very stable position, in a really important position, I'd say, and also bringing the likes of JDC from Unicorns of Love. I think there's a reason behind all of this, and obviously there is going to be that communication barrier when it comes to international lineups, right? There is also going to be an issue trying to line strategies up, and Dust 2 is the most fluid map out of the lot. A map that you don't really need to have too many interesting compositions or at least strategies to head into it and have a strong performance. So I think this is where they want to find themselves success. But we'll be heading right into the game to see how exactly this will go ahead.
Yeah, man, you mentioned the communication barriers, and because their lineups are so split up, you know, you have a few Polish players, you've got a German player, a Hungarian, Xerxian being Israeli. Now, obviously, they're not going to have much common ground in native languages, so it is interesting to see how this is going to play out. Yeah, Dust 2 probably favors them in this regard. Alien, he's going to try to start things off, but his teammate, Nickelback, he's already done a fair bit of damage. Now, on the way back, Torshi, you're doing a fair bit of damage, but can you back off?
Well, I think he can. He moves out across the map. Now, Crad from mid has stuck around. I love this positioning from him. Clever stuff from Entropiq, leaving a player behind to cause some damage. It's information giving two of them as well, though Shane is able to capitalize on that kill in mid and pull themselves ahead together. Getting that kill as well puts them ahead in that 3 versus 2 scenario. Although the bomb has gone down, Entropiq, they've stuck with both players on site. Now, does mouz NXT expect this? Not quite sure. Shane rips Forrester's head apart, and now it's all up to Nickelback. 2 different locations he needs to check, and it won't be quick enough. Shane, he gets himself an off angle, gets himself the kill, and it's mouz NXT with the first blood of the map.
Yeah, they desperately needed that. When you're going to play a map like Dust 2, you want to start things off strong. You want to make sure that if you're starting off as the underdogs, give yourself some breathing room to begin with. And I think Shen might have just done that. 4 kills for him. Very, very strong performance to start things off. Entropiq, because they've gotten the bomb down, I do believe that those buy-ups will be coming through. Crad on a Galil, Lackey as well. Forrester and Nickelback should be following suit. Alien, he's picked up a scout rifle, and this is where we see Torshi trying to get a bit cocky. He wants to show Alien who's boss, but that's a question that will be answered later, considering that only a few points of damage have gone the way of the CT side.
Yeah, you mentioned the standoff before in the pre-game with the 2, well, scoped weapon players, you know, Scout and AWP across the board for Torchi and Alien. We're already seeing this come to play from the second round already, but I think Entropiq have got a game plan here. They've put themselves up for that A-long side, but they've also left Crad behind. I love how Entropiq always leaves that one player in a lurking position, which can always catch rotations off guard, but also upon a pick, gives them an avenue for a rotation if it does come to it. But I think they're going to commit to this entirely. Double smokes coming through. Xerxian making sure he can push through with a flash, but he only gets punished for it. Forrester puts a bullet straight through his head, and now they need some ground to be gained, because mouz NXT, they've lined up here. Torchi puts that scout to the test. Nickelback able to chase things through as JDC makes his body clear from jumping onto that ledge. Shuri will hold his ground onto the site though, and will make Entropiq's breach onto the site a lot more difficult. Shane, M4 at hand, being a menace once more. With Lackey moving across the site, he's the only player remaining. Taking one down means he's down to 1v2, and faking the bomb plant will give him some space to get information. 30 seconds remaining, and I think Shane is slowly moving up. Will he expect that off angle? No, he will not, and for that reason, he will be punished.
Entropiq did have a fighting chance there because Shui, I believe it was actually Lackey there at the end, was able to get the bomb down, kind of nestle himself into a better position, but at the end of the day, it does come down to the aim duels, and the M4 reigns supreme, so. 2 rounds to be put up.
Pinnacle Cup have got to say about this, and I think they agree with you mostly for us, because Entropiq seem to be the favorite across the board when it comes to this series. 1.2 to 4 point something. It's still Entropiq that should be winning this game, but it's a good start for mouz nonetheless.
Yeah, the problem with a new team is that the odds aren't particularly always reflective of how the performances would be. I mean, in general, of course, it does have to do a bit with public perceptions, but because mouz NXT is an untested team, you would have a lot of faith in Entropiq. You would go like, yeah, okay, they've made it to top 17. They've had a lot of wins under their belt, and there isn't really much that can challenge them. But by the looks of things, mouz aren't a team that are going to be taken apart just like that. Entropiq, though, because they've gotten the bomb plant in the previous round as well, it doesn't seem like they're going to have to do too much saving. Elian, he'll take out the counterpart in the form of Torshi, but JDC won't be allowing any guns to be recovered. A Galil is all he needs to almost get the 3K.
And I think Entropiq are being too aggressive here. They peek through without using it too much utility, and JDC just punishes. Entropiq underestimating NXT's ability to hold down that mid side, and now they find themselves in a very big deficit. When it comes to numbers, when it comes to HP, Elian, he's barely breathing. No, Forrester, he needs to find an advantage here. He needs a pick to keep them in this round, but with Shane pushing through, he's going to be revealing his position. Forrester taken low, eventually being killed off as well. With Elian being the final member surviving, that won't last long. It will be Shane taking him over, and as you see, Trustly being the bomb, I think NXT also is being the bomb currently in the scoreline.
Absolutely, and I really like the kind of patience that mouz are playing with. For JDC to be stationed on mid, recognizing the opportunity that somebody would try to push through, picking up a casual 3K just like that, that is solid gameplay right there. I'm not sure why they keep going for these repeats, but I really like how JDC quickly adjusts to the target on top mid and puts a 3K. That's not the kill he was meant to get, but he does it regardless. Oh no, Elian. Ooh. This time it's not Torji whose head is torn off his shoulders. Instead, it is JDC. Krat, he doesn't have a care in the world, just runs out mid willy-nilly. Has a shot at a second kill as well, but Shen wants to equalize the numbers, and they might just have with Torshi chiming into the battle.
You would have thought the aggression would have subsided after their misplace previously, but no, instead, it gives them an extra motive to move up close and personal onto their opponent's side. Goes for the plants, denies it, realizes there's no one nearby. But now Nas has to take cover from tunnels as someone may have repositioned. Flash onwards, 2 different angles, very different angles as well. Does delete one, but is left in a standoff versus Zershin. Gets a better read. Lackey, he's been spotted out, but he holds his ground, takes a lot of damage in the process, has to reposition. Zershin will keep in that angle, holding down that position, and will kill off Lackey in the end. mouz NXT, they keep a really strong point here, but Entropiq Seco does do a lot of damage.
That is way too much damage for mouz NXT to be taking, because the chance that they had at an economy building round because Entropiq were careless with their own money, that's been taken away from mouz now. They do still get the chance at buying up weapons, of course, because that damage doesn't culminate into enough to take that away from them. But regardless, they do come out on top. But in the meantime, X-Warrior, why don't you walk us through a Pinnacle?
Oh yeah, but basically, Pinnacle, has a good offer for you guys, because you will want to take advantage of this. When you bet 10 euros on esports, on Pinnacle, of course, you get 10 euros in return. So it's basically free money. You must be a new customer, though, and sign up with the code CUP21. Remember, betting should be done in a fun and safe environment, so make sure that you only bet what you can afford, and of course, full terms and conditions do apply in that regard. And you also can make that payment using our partners Trustly, because they offer quick and safe way to transfer money from an account to an account without any complications, without cards, without any app download, without any registration, and you can use it on the pinnacle.com/odds website as well. So go ahead and do just that. But like, looking at the whole grand schema of this game, already seeing a timeout come through, I sort of like this from Entropiq. It means that they're not underestimating their opponents to too much of an extent. And with the mouse having that advantage, I don't think they want to let them get away with it that easily.
Yeah, you can already see the smiles on the faces of mouz NXT. Feeling pretty good about how this has started.
I love the smiles, though. I really do. You love seeing players ready to get on the server and start fragging out. You can tell when someone is feeling it, and you know, when you see the smiles on people's faces, that's the best thing you can get. When Counter-Strike is your life, you might as well enjoy it, right? Zershan, he's such the man. Always smiles and always is the light in the server. Forrester and Lackey, though, are the first ones to get themselves some kills. This time, a lot more collective. A lot like how we are used to seeing Entropiq perform. Forrester now on that retake position. Catches Shuri off guard, but JDC is able to trade through. Maybe the damage has already been inflicted, because Entropiq, they've got most of the players alive still.
Yeah, 4 players heading onto the A bomb site, and there's no way that they can immediately get back on top of this. They've got a couple flashbangs for JDC, and he is in the right position to potentially capitalize. Now, one head being eviscerated from the server, a Molotov and a flashbang to come through. Shen, perhaps he can still do something about this, because now the numbers are equalized, but Elian is still lurking in the pit. Can they isolate both players? He's not even in the pit, so he might just be out in the open. JDC, he's going to have to make it the ace, but he's already gotten 4. Elian wants to come around, potentially get the kill, and he does. Denies it at the 4K.
It became a close affair in the end, but Entropiq come out on top. That 4v2 advantage turning down to a 1-on-1 shouldn't really be the case. Therefore, you can see the odds sort of reflecting the situation where mouz have slightly more chances to come up ahead in the series rather than they did a few rounds ago. I really like what they're bringing to the table, that they're not afraid to go for these disadvantageous retakes. It really just shows how they're heading into this one. But Entropiq, they come out on top, and I think that is the main theme across the board. Forrester pushing through, and won't be greeting anyone as mouz NXT have already backtracked to safety.
Yeah, the problem with mouz's initial lead is that it's a bit window dressed, in the sense that they're not able to build much money off of it. They're not really able to... Uh-oh, I don't think Forrester realizes this. Never mind. He's going to be able to pick up Shen. And he's got another opportunity, because Elian might have just saved his butt by taking out Torshi. Trying to creep forward, but that Desert Eagle... It's like a toll booth, and the price to pay is your head.
And now the double smoke will be thrown as well, hoping that no more heads get ripped apart. Though I really like their confidence. Something tells me there's a boost going to go on. Zershan makes sure that no one does lurk through the smoke. One will fade out, but one will be backed up from it. I love the awareness with Entropiq hiding under the smoke for them. It's as if they knew that this would be their position. Smart decision making from them, and they come up on top on the trades as well. JDC, the only thing you can do is run away. Run away, man, and hide, because Entropiq, they're coming right after you. Unlike your team, they have got some extra bank well, they have some extra cash in the bank, so they're not too afraid going after JDC, knowing that there's Kevlar at play. This was a force buy from mouz NXT, and they don't really take much out of it.
I'm not even sure if Entropiq intended to throw that smoke in the way they did, because it does block the boost, but I think they were just trying to make sure that they can cross over safely as the first smoke was dissipating. But regardless, it does end up working out in their favor. Entropiq, they're slowly creeping forward. And I do think that they have the makings of a team that will pull ahead, because mouz, this initial victory might be short-lived. They only have $2,000 across the board. Perhaps a flashbang at best. A Desert Eagle for JDC that's been saved. That's all the equipment that they'll be working with. Entropiq heading on over to long, while a couple players have been positioned to catch out the mid players, catch out the lurk. And Nickelback, I think he's about to feel a lot of the pressure as they come down mid. The firing gallery doesn't work out in his favor at all. 4 players from the Entropiq side now scramble to get away from the action. The AK-47 has been recovered, and Crad shows us a level of trigger discipline that's been unheard of because he doesn't want to give away his position.
No, he's got a really advantageous position. If they don't catch him off, I think they now know that the information is there for them. Shui as well puts that AK-47 to the test, collecting a second kill for him. So Entropiq now need to be scared, because Zershan is on the back line of things. That's the second AK-47 that can be collected and put into the hands of Tortsi. And for that reason, Entropiq need to be really precise with their following kills. Lackey misses out on that regard, so it's all up to Elliot now in that 1v3. Time remaining, no kit. It's mouz that has to rush into it. And if they rush into the cross of Elian, they are bound to die. 1v3 in the end, but he's able to scramble the pieces.
Yeah, with them being so far away from the bomb and Elian basically being given 3 1v1s, not really much they can do off of that. So, good start from Entropiq. They can at least hold on to their horses, and you can see that because Elian doesn't have to go for too many rebuys. I mean, he hasn't been losing his life that often. He has the lowest deaths on the server, I believe. He can hold on to almost $10,000. Now, keeping control of your own economy as the AWP player, very important stuff, and you will see that being reflected in the scoreline eventually. Now, the bomb making its way towards B. They've got a flashbang as well, and now I think they should be moving right in.
They will indeed push underway. Crad spots out Shane, but they haven't seen JDC just yet, so that will mean that he will be getting 1 kill going his way. Smoke slightly late, taking some damage off of it. Does take advantage of it to reposition, and will get another kill in that process. He's being such a menace in this angle, and he's killed, and he's still alive. Not for long. Elian shuts him down with a 5-7. Zershan will shut down Lackey, being a menace. Elian's still alive, but Crad barely standing. The bomb hasn't gone down just yet. And with Elian's repositioning, Tortsi will get the command over the bomb. And it's all up to Crad right now.
Elian wanted to check lower tunnels, but he didn't have the awareness to recognize that maybe somebody's rotated all the way around, and that's exactly what happened. Crad, he tries to play the off angle. Not sure how he lives in that affair, and that Shui does. But at the end of the day, mouz NXT, they're going to come out on top. That is with a fair bit of damage, though, isn't it?
It is indeed, and little by little you see mouz's odds sort of increasing in that regard. Well, decreasing in the ratio, but you know what I mean. The chances of them winning the series are definitely getting up there, and they're challenging Entropiq substantially on one of the maps that Entropiq is sort of known for.
Yeah, this is one of their higher win percentages, and it's a bit concerning if mouz NXT start picking up rounds. Entropiq, they almost lost Forrester there, but Shen unable to react because the Molotovs are the Molotov was obscuring his vision. 3 players on mid now, 1-3-1 setup from the T side. Nobody watching mid, so the map can easily be split in 2, just courtesy of 1 smoke. But I do think that Entropiq will be opting for the more difficult bomb site, as there are 3 players positioned, 1 watching long, 2 on the cross. A Molotov to clear out short, and this is where they start telegraphing their position. 3 players moving up. And this is a full 5-man commitment with still a minute on the clock. So not much information being baited out, but I don't think the CTs have the right read here.
No, it doesn't look like it. Although Tortsi has got his line set up there with the AWP, there's no real reinforcement. So I imagine he'll have to back out from it. Try and get 1 kill and then fall back. That's what he goes for, but he misses on the shot. Therefore, no real deficit on the Entropiq side. Apart from Elian taking a lot of damage in mid, he's just being a menace really in that situation. Entropiq getting themselves in sight is going to make mouz's retake a lot more difficult. And Elian, the only thing that he's doing right now is being a distraction. A whisper in mouz's head saying that, oh, look behind you, or else you might be a dead man. And that may be the finishing blow. That may be the difference. Forrester takes 1 down. Shui as well trades things true. JDC putting his mark on 2. He's had such an impact on this game so far. And Elian, he's not being a menace from behind. The only thing he can do is get 1 kill. But there are 3 players remaining. And for that reason, mouz NXT will get themselves a 6th.
JDC has some of the most impressive retake kills I've seen in a while. The fact that he's able to get onto a bomb site with not a care in the world and somehow always frag out only on the retakes, it's very impressive. He's leading the scoreboard right now, and I know that 4 of his kills came through from a retake that didn't really come to fruition, but still, you know that this guy means business when it comes to taking back a bomb site. But if you mean business when it comes to your payment and you want them to flow quickly from account to account, you don't need any cards or an app download or registration to go ahead and check out Trustly. And if you're going to check out pinnacle.com/odds in the process as well, maybe you can hit 2 birds with 1 stone by using Trustly to make a deposit.
Apparently a technical pause has infringed our game. There's a sound problem coming in from Nickelback, I believe, but I'm not quite sure if it's Nickelback's issue. It's just Nickelback that has made us aware of that situation. Technical pause is on the side of Entropiq. I'm not quite sure if that was their detriment in that regard when it came to the previous round. Although we were talking about the retakes and how much of an impact JDC has in them, it's not only when it comes to the retakes. Whenever he's coming across duels, it always seems he's doing something unorthodox, something different that their opponents don't really expect. Therefore, he comes out ahead on a few positions and gives his team the numbers advantage. And by that, his team is well enough equipped to capitalize on it as well. Pleasantly surprised by that man's performance, and I hope to see more.
Oh, Entropiq, they're going to be walking right into the lion's den because mouz, they've got 3 players committed on long. 2 kills do get exchanged, but it's mostly in the favor of Entropiq, and they're going to be able to pick up a 3rd as Elian, he ends up falling. Now, Torshi desperate to try to equalize, and he does because Forrester, he's been ripped clean out of the pit. 2-on-2, and now the T's. They want to head on over to the A bomb site. The threat of the AWP in Torshi's hands looming around the corner does mean that they can't be too careless in doing so. Molotov is ready to make sure that their progress will be impeded. Now they want to go for the wraparound.
Incendiary came in on time to blockade the site for at least a few seconds. The nade a little bit preemptive, therefore not really doing too much damage. Maybe should have waited a little bit longer, but that as well would have given away his position over on Catwalk. Elia now sniffs out. Why is no one peeking? Oh, shortly they need to be careful of this long approach, and for that reason he's in a really wide angle, hiding behind the box, therefore cannot be spotted when it comes to that long side lackey. He's up against the wall here. No way that is expected, but Shane delivers with a shot to the head. Elian all by himself. He's been in a clutch position before, but can he find the kills isolated? 1 kill connected. Finding the second one will be a difficult matter as Torchi's holding down that line, and it will be a simple endeavor for him. A 3-piece to his name. Defuse kit at hand will simply allow him to defuse the bomb.
It's so surprising that Entropiq aren't actually able to win out many of these individual aim duels. One thing you would expect from the higher tier team is that a lot of the individuals would just be out-fragging the lower team, but that's not the case, is it? Torshi, time and time again, he's able to take command over the players of the terror side at the moment. Entropiq, not too many responses that have been heard from them. I'm actually really curious about the positioning of this player's monitor. He seems to be looking at the camera quite often.
Seems like he's aware that we're watching him. You know, some people really enjoy the camera. Obviously, some people just don't care, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, there's just some personalities that just like throwing that BM at their opponents by just flaunting and looking at the camera, shouting at it when they succeed. So for some people, they feel good when someone is watching. They feel that they've got something to prove. And that's what I'm looking forward to on LAN, you know? That's why I'm eagerly waiting for yet another one to come underway. For us to see the players, how they perform when there's a grand audience going on. But JDC doesn't need his audience. He's just created it by annihilating it. It's his ground. He's not going to give it anywhere. 3 kills going his way and he's still alive. He's causing so much pressure to the attack of Entropiq. He's distinguishing them as if they have mere pistols. But it's a full buy from the CIS squad. And it's as if they can't do anything about this endeavor.
Now heading up tunnels, Torshi wants to be proactive in this regard. Elian will be taken out of the equation. Forrester desperately wants to do something himself, but Torshi is ready on the trigger. the AWP, man, he's hitting these narrow pixel level shots that I honestly haven't seen in a while. What an insane player. And JDC, what was that entire round? The fact that he can constantly just peek out mid and, well, we all saw what happened there.
Yeah, we did. It was insane. I'm sorry, but JDC, I don't know where he thinks he is. Well, actually, I do think he knows where he is. He's in a Counter-Strike server, and he's just shooting down his opponents. He doesn't care about who his opponents are. He doesn't care about how accomplished this squad has been. He will just do what he knows how to do best, and that's just frag out of his mind. Really cool to see that man come into this squad and perform like he is, and he sort of has been. He's been on the radar when it comes to the German seed in that Unicorns of Love roster, but never really has proved himself on the grand scheme of things when it comes to the European scene in general, right? We haven't heard of him too much, but I think now, under the name of mouz NXT, there's a lot of potential that this man is showing off here, and he's showing it time and time again. It's a simple endeavor for mouz NXT, not really being challenged as if it's, well, quite literally it's against pistols this time around, and they make it look easy in that regard as well. 9-3 being the scoreline currently.
This is getting very scary for Entropiq, isn't it? Because you're playing on one of your best maps against a team that's supposed to be underdogs, and they've already gotten the halftime victory by a mile. You've put up a measly 3 rounds, and this is on the CT side. So once Entropiq have the side switch, it'll be so hard to go for a comeback. Now, JDC, in the process of crossing over, he's actually gotten tagged up quite heavily, so he'll be the sole defender of the B-bomb site. Forrester, he tries to peek around the smoke, but it doesn't work out in his favor. Double nades to at least put Lackey within that 1 bullet headshot range. And now they'll be choosing a different avenue, and that avenue is shut as well. Torshi, so quick on the AWP. 5 players still alive and kicking, albeit JDC has his head dangling off his shoulders. But there's only 3 on the Entropiq. Make that 2. As Shen, he's gone for even more aggression. That's not something that Entropiq would expect at all, because you're expecting them to go for passivity when they have the advantage, and Shen just wants more. He keeps going and he keeps delivering.
I like how fluidly just mouz NXT move across the map.
Oh no.
Oh dear, Alien, the timing isn't great. It's not at all. But I remember you saying, well, Daddy, it's interesting that mouz NXT picked this map, because Entropiq, they're well known for it. But I don't think we're surprised anymore. I think we know exactly why they've picked this.
Yeah, man, this is Entropiq's map pick, though. So Dust 2 is surprisingly shaky for them. Ancient, on the other hand, that's something that I'm very curious about.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see in that regard. But there's an offer, ladies and gentlemen, at hand. 10 euros by betting on esports over at Pinnacle. You get 10 euros in return. You need to go to pinnacle.com/odds for that. As you can see, there are a lot of odds going on the screen. And you have to use the code CUP21 upon sign up. And that's a beautiful offer you can take advantage of. But as we said, mouz NXT, they're showing their prowess currently. And Entropiq, they're forced down to yet another small buy.
Shen, this nade will be doing a fair bit of damage. Lackey. Oh, that's a 2-for-2 trade, and the T side, they've actually managed to get onto the B-bomb site. This might be the first time where Entropiq can actually fight back.
They could. I didn't believe it until Krad got that kill onto Shuri. Without an entry kill onto the B site, things do get tough. Whatever team you are, whatever team you're facing. Flash is perfect from Torchi though, and it does keep Krad ahead. Torchi delivers with a 1 shot, but he's all in that 1v1 standoff with Elian. Oh, he's going to stick it, isn't he? Oh, he's going to stick it. Elian, he doesn't elude him. He doesn't make him get off the bomb. And for that reason, the man with balls of steel, mouz NXT, they get themselves ahead for yet another time.
Yeah, how have they done this? Actually, a quick correction to make. I did say that Entropiq have picked this map. That is not the case. They're actually the ones that picked Ancient. I think I just misread the graphic there for a second. But regardless, man, because this is still one of Entropiq's best maps, mouz shouldn't be allowed this sort of comfort at all. They're past double digits, and I think they're just looking to make it more solidified. This time, Entropiq, they want to go out guns blazing, trying to gum up long, but Torshi is the blockade that will be stopping them. 5-on-4, the CTs already reign supreme. Entropiq, they cannot catch a break. Shui's tucked into the cubby as well, sitting around Car, and I don't think he'll be flushed out any time, because mouz, I'm sure they've got players dedicated to making sure that this player will be alive and kicking. Instead, though, Entropiq, they'll be choosing a different avenue for this map, for this round. Choosing to switch up their pace, rotating the long way around. Elian does make things a little bit easier on their shoulders as the burden of having Shui on the server is eased. Shen and JDC now, they've got a task ahead of them.
Indeed, and Shane holding down the ground. It's going to be a simple lineup for him. It's as if he's done shooting down in the shooting range where bots don't shoot back, and Entropiq don't seem to be shooting back right now. They're not getting any kills. And Shane quite simply just has to hold his ground over on tunnels and kills off every single one of those players. Elian, his barrel is just too huge. And Zershan will see it first. It's half time currently, and mouz have just shown us something that I don't think any of us believed could be happening. And not only that, the Pinnacle odds currently show that mouz and NXT are neck and neck when it comes to the Entropiq's possibilities in winning this matchup.
Yeah, I think Ancient being the next map, it becomes even more shaky for Entropiq, because I understand that they're the ones that pick the map, but at the same time, that map isn't something that people have gotten to really explore too much, so anything can happen, and you don't know what mouz and NXT have under their belt. So this map is already looking like it's over. 12-3 is not a scoreline we thought we would even see pop up on the server with regards to Entropiq falling out. They're feeling a lot of the pressure, and mouz are about to apply a lot more as they come up short. Elian does make things a little bit more favorable, but now they still have to defend against this push.
Zershan putting his mark as well on the scoreline, getting 2 kills, make that 3. He's feeling it right now. He's a happy man. They put an Entropiq in the gutter. They're throwing trash down the chute as well. Forrester. Is he that final piece of rubbish to be thrown down? Away, shipped in a packet. For that reason, mouz, they're looking really strong, Malderi. And that pistol round is basically a highway towards that eventual victory on map number 1.
Man, you have to feel for Elian at the moment, because even though his team isn't really performing too well, he is still putting up the stats. He's going 15 and 11. Is a bit disappointing to see. Elian tried to stop that push on the pistol round as well. However, that was the only kill they were able to get. mouz and NXT making their way up long. They've got 2 players to contend with if they do end up moving through, and they've got plenty of utility, so smokes galore. Entropiq, on the other hand, their approach will be limited. They've got a couple scout rifles, one on the A site, one on mid. So for the most part, they are banking on the fact that perhaps they can get away with a firing gallery. This smoke being deployed, I believe it is a way for Entropiq to at least hold them back while they're going for rotations, fishing out information on mid. But I love the attention to detail from mouz and NXT. When they cross on T-spawn, they'll have their heads ducked and they'll crouch all the way through. So now, they've given up relatively little information, but the audio cue now, this should be heard by Krad.
Is that going to be enough, though? Everyone isn't close enough.
Uh-oh.
If someone is not looking on tunnels, they could be dead, though. Krad finding some damage, but without the finishing blow, that's not going to be paying any dividend. It's going to be the B-site take for them. JDC just holding his ground. No complications after that.
They even have a player in
mouz and
T-spawn.
NXT realize they're going to get themselves a victory here. Entropiq, it just feels like they've given up.
Yeah, this map hasn't been very kind to them at all. And where I talked about the dynamic between Torshi and Elian, suddenly I don't even think that's the major part of the equation, because Torshi and Elian have been going neck and neck. It's not like anyone has been an outstanding performer. But everyone else on the server, that's the difference maker. mouz NXT, time and time again, they've been able to pick up kills. Shui, I know that he isn't particularly a standout player. Like, he's not one of those crazy players that you see with insane HLTV stats or anything in the such as the likes of Torshi or Elian, but he's been such a good anchor on the A bomb site when he was on CT. And JDC, man, he is so good at applying pressure, fishing out info, getting retakes, all of that good jazz. So he seems like one of those really talented players that can always count on their individual mechanics to bail them out of situations.
This is not a close game at all. This is a stomp.
Yeah, if we had to anticipate a stomp, it would be in the other direction. But I think a push is about to ensue. mouz NXT, can they get past the scout rifle? The answer is, yeah, probably. But we'll see.
Oh, they've got a lot of utility available, and it looks like they're just lining up and finding the prime time to push on through. Oh, they line up for Lackey, though, and that's going to be their downfall. Perhaps this could be Entropiq's situation where they can capitalize upon. Shane does rip the Lackey's head apart, but apart from that, they do find ground towards the A site. Information given, but they don't have mid control, which is where Nickelback does come in. Peter 50 at hand, not the best weapon to deal with this endeavor, but he may have reinforcements come through from Crad. Does find the kill. Forrester does chime in as well, which does mean that Entropiq may have found their advantage. It's a pistol round that goes their way. Who would have thought? But is it going to be enough for the comeback? Not quite sure about that, but at least they look good enough to close out this round, with Zershan being the only man surviving.
If they were on the T side, then we could give them the benefit of the doubt that, all right, you can start getting control of your economy, you can perhaps shut down the CT side, but because mouz will constantly be able to barrage them with bullets and AKs and these shoddy buys, I do think they'll be able to scrape together 2 rounds. And Entropiq, regardless of what they've managed to pull out here, their chances are looking very slim. And that'll just be further made more difficult by the fact that Zershan gets a kill on the way out. So that's an AK being out of the hands of the CT side.
Oh. mouz NXT looking to be favorite in the series as a whole. 1.8 to 1.9 in favor of mouz.
Yeah, definitely not what we anticipated. Not at all.
It's crazy. It is. But it's not over yet. And we do know Entropiq is one of those teams that likes winning in a 2-1 fashion. For some reason, a 2-0 just doesn't work for them. Even if it's against the easiest teams, they always like to make their lives difficult when it comes down to it. And also against the best teams, it's always going to be a 2-1 when it comes down to Entropiq. I've noticed this in their scorelines. Push coming through, though. Forrester gets 1 kill in that process, but now it's completely flashed, runs out of bullets, finds a second weapon, but Torchi has already killed him through. mouz looking to fast damage, but they aren't successful in doing so. It's Entropiq to come out on top and give themselves that 5th round on the scoreline.
That was a good hole, but can you do it 9 more times? I think question marks are popping up over our heads right now, and probably over the heads of the Entropiq players as well. Just a couple rounds, they can easily waltz on over to the finish line, and that's a big problem for Entropiq to deal with. Not a good sign for them to end up losing out the first map in a very convincing fashion. But it's not over yet. Lackey and Elian, they both have AWPs, and you know that they've got the prowess to start snowballing things. If mouz NXT can somehow drop the ball from this kind of fleet, if they end up choking, then for sure Entropiq take it 2-0. Because at that point, you've crushed your mental fortitude. mouz NXT getting ready for a long push. They've got a few P250s, and Nickelback will be the man to hold it down. The spray down unsuccessful, and the Glock will reign supreme.
Overwhelmed by the numbers, and now it's Zershan to lead the charge. M4 found, but is it going to be drawn out quick enough? Crad trying to help out his teammate. Elian actually missing out his first shot, but able to deliver on the second one. Trying to look to push together, and JDC puts that P250 to the test. Both players are low, but when it comes down to an AWP, only 1 shot is required either way. Repositioning towards the catwalk side. mouz, what do you do? Pressing that shift key. Going for the backstab. They're not looking at this direction. They're waiting for Lackey to hold his ground onto that catwalk or ramp side. But no. He's bamboozled them. Shuri does he check it? The audio cue is there! And Shuri will hear it! He'll turn his attention towards it and put a bullet straight through his eyes.
That wouldn't have been checked unless the audio cue came through, and it did, so very unfortunate stuff. Now, Entropiq, they've only got one lifeline remaining. And I say that as if it's meant for the round, but realistically, it's meant for a map, because this is over.
Yeah, I think Entropiq may want to press that reset button and say, okay, Ancient must be our map, otherwise I don't see this working out. Elian wants to come out huge with at least a bang before he goes out.
I like how Torshi anticipated that Elian was going for that kind of play, but the one-way smoke is so powerful that Elian still manages to come out with a kill. Torshi had his crosshairs right on Elian. Still, being extra careful didn't actually work out for Torshi. So 4v5 situation, heading on over to Long. They've got 3 players ready on the Entropiq side, so they can immediately call in the backup. A player in the form of Nickelback will be contesting short, but it doesn't look like he'll have to worry about that angle anytime soon. Instead, they're going to have to deal with the cavalry marching on forward from Long. Let's see the utility that they've got. They've got a couple smokes, so they're going to have to make them work.
Yeah, but I think Entropiq is not really interested in a retake position. They want to make sure the hold is there from the start. Get those initial kills, smokes out. Flash will come through. Elian delivers on the first pick, does get the second kill as well. He doesn't even need to see his opponents to get these kills. Misses out on the fourth though. It's only going to be the 3-piece for him this game, but it might as well be for the full-on ace if it's given to him. 4K, can it be the full 5 stack for him? One shot away from collecting it, but I think there's the likes of Nickelback going for the recollection, going in for the rotation. Shuri gets one before he falls, and Elian gets the full-on ace.
Leading 23-12. Elian, at the moment, is the highest fragger on the server, while being in such a massive round deficit. That is impressive in its own right. That means that the AWP player is still having an incredible impact. Perhaps Entropiq wouldn't have these 6 rounds that they've somehow scraped together if it wasn't for Elian's performance. So consistent and so good at holding down the line when it comes to hitting simple shots. And he can hit some crazy ones as well. Lots of consistency in this offer.
But now he has to back off. Oh, they're going to rush right into him with the pistols. They actually overwhelmed them. 2 kills going their way. How is that even possible for us?
Yeah, I mentioned consistency, and Elian suddenly he throws it out of the window, and perhaps this map as well. Lackey and Forrester want to desperately get onto Long now. They've got an AWP and an M4, so the weaponry will still be favoring them because there isn't any armor with the exception of JDC, Torshi. He's been passed over to the AWP that has been snatched from the hands of Elian. Now mouz NXT, they want to end it right here. They know that this scoreline is looking very scrumptious. Forrester tries to go for a few pot shots around mid, but now Lackey's got to do the heavy lifting.
They stuck around long enough to cause a rotation, and now Lackey is all by himself onto this A site. Now mouz will push on through. JDC will get the kill, and that's going to be it. A site being taken over. Forrester being bamboozled by Zushin's rotation over to the C spawn, and now it is going to be the finishing blow onto him. But will that even be the case? 3 rifles have been recollected here for mouz. They've gotten themselves the perfect situation that they need to close out map number 1. We are all very surprised by their performance. But I think they've got something to prove here. And by getting this first map underway, they may have settled themselves at perhaps being the favorites in this series, shown by the Pinnacle odds. But we'll be back for Ancient right after this break. And make sure you stick around because it's madness we are witnessing today. Map number 2 of the series, mouz NXT versus Entropiq here in the Pinnacle Cup number 2. My name is Troy, of course, with the beautiful Daily by my side in this endeavor. But it's Entropiq now on that map deficit. mouz NXT, they've gotten themselves a demanding victory onto Dust 2, a map where we thought Entropiq would never have held, where they would have held a chance against Entropiq, but no, that is not the case. We're back in it in this map, and Entropiq want to start things off with a bang.
Yeah, pushing up Cheetah now. mouz NXT have to hold down the line against 2 angles. Exertion misses the first few shots. That's allowing free entry onto the bomb site. Now it's all a matter of getting aim duels, and it seems like Entropiq will do just that as Lackey picks up the first frag. JDC barely hits that shot, but he does, and he should be able to catch the bomb planter as well because Lackey's so low. Comes around, Forrester cannot challenge the wide peak of JDC, and that is it. JDC once again is ripping apart the opposition. Potential for the ace. And this is exactly what he did on Dust 2.
Man, he was such a big difference maker over on Dust 2, and he's doing it yet again on Ancient. You would have thought Entropiq with that initial kill would have gotten themselves on site, maybe more follow-up of a kill there. But no, instantly annihilated. I am lost for words, but Nickelback trying to find an alternative angle, but I think Shane has read this endeavor. He's read his movement, but no, actually moves away from it. Could be a free kill. No, denied. Slam dunked against the wall. The poor man has got a concussion after that. Maybe even worse. He died. mouz NXT, though, they start things off well with a 1-0 on the board.
This is looking dangerous, isn't it? I don't think mouz NXT should be allowed this kind of comfort heading straight onto Ancient. Entropiq? Oh, things are looking rough. This is mouz's chance to show that they can topple the top dogs in a 2-0 fashion. But can they do it? I mean, they've shown signs of promise. They've done it on Dust 2, and that's a map that is as old as time. So if they can do it on that, I wouldn't be surprised if Ancient comes their way as well. But Entropiq, this is a round where they've invested fully. They've got a scout for Elian, some hand cannons in their back pockets as well, but one will be swiftly taken out as Shen sprays away with the M4. And no damage comes out from the Entropiq side as mouz, they seem to be on top of all these duels. Exertion, perhaps he spotted Crad cross on over. He is being a bit more careful about that, but the smoke will at least keep a player at bay. Other than that, it seems like their final destination will be the B bomb site because all the way through tunnels, the T's are carrying the bomb over.
They definitely are struggling, aren't they? Entropiq now with all enforcement of that bite. Can't really bring anything out here. JDC does spot them out. Someone damage and exertion. Is he ready for this approach? No, Crad quick on the trigger and quick to reposition it onto his head, which means that this is still doable for Entropiq, still within the realms of possibility. As they try and cross into the site, the bomb will get punched in. The rotations have now just come in from mouz. One player, Tortsy, moving up across a window. Crad, does he expect this? Yes, he peeks out. Tortsy gets the kill, though, as JDC looks to reposition, getting himself and his team on the site, and it's all up to Lackey. Deagle at hand, he needs madness to pull this off, and I don't think he'll be able to bring it out. mouz NXT, simply enough, close out the second round in a row.
This puts Entropiq at a bit of a crossroads. Now, because mouz have been able to buy up a couple M4s, it's not like they have full rifles across the board. So Entropiq can still choose to go for Galils because they've got that $3,000 mark and come out on top with regards to firepower. But they're not going to make the same mistake as Dust 2. They're not being too cocky about it. Instead, they'll just pick up a few Tech 9s and they'll give themselves an insurance policy in the next round. So this can be a throwaway round, but this also gives them a chance. But Shen, I don't think he anticipates one coming around the corner. Pushing through the Molotov, Forrester, his wide peak comes to fruition. They've already gotten the first frag, heading up Temple now.
They have indeed, as you said, moving up against tunnels. One player, Tortsy, holding it down with a scout. He's also got the reinforcements from Shui, but currently smoked off. Zertshin puts his mark on the game across mid, not really allowing Elian to be a backstabber, but it is Entropiq still pushing onto the site. Quite substantially so, considering they've only got pistols to work with. Smoke now will fade out, giving Tortsy some space to work around with. Zertshin, with the M4 recollected by Nickelback, is able to get himself a kill. 2 versus 2. Can this work out? JDC's aggressiveness pays off, and it's all up to Crad. He's actually coming in from behind, moving all across Temple. They're not expecting this at all. Smoke out.
Yeah.
JDC will stick onto this. Tortsy has to get eliminated. Tech9 drawn. JDC just needs to find the headshot, but no, the diffuser is stuck. There's no kit available, but he has no idea that he's still on the bomb. And now it has been defused, and then mouz and NXT come out ahead.
There were so many layers to that bomb being stuck down because he held the bomb. Krad wanted to bait him out of the smoke, anticipated him coming around it, stayed inside the smoke instead because he wanted the player to eventually come out for the duel, and he thought that he would get a second Q for the defuse, but that's not the case. Instead, JDC stays in it. He knows that Krad is doing the same thing, that Krad is anticipating a duel around the smoke. So JDC, he's thinking 3 steps ahead. And that's what carries mouz NXT past to that third round on the board. Entropiq now, this is where they can go guns blazing. They've got AKs. They're holding on to that big green as well. Nearly gets caught out. Shen, eventually the duel will not go his way as Forrester has opened up a bomb site.
Yeah, Shane, it is risky when you don't have a partner in that boost when you try and go for it on yourself, because you got no one covering you while you go for that jump, and for that reason it sort of pays off in Entropiq's favor. But across the map, mouz and NXT, they're able to bounce back with a kill going to the side of Torchy. There's still a situation where mouz and NXT can reign supreme. Close contact with AWP onto Cheetah, something we don't really see when there's an AWP at play. Usually you try and reposition it on a back angle, maybe on back alley onto the B site, maybe in mid, or even into Temple towards the A site, looking in on the A main area. But other than that, he's holding off a really close angle, and he may be tested from 2 positions simultaneously. mouz and NXT spending a lot of players towards the A site, and that's for good reason as well. Lackey pushes out but does get eliminated. Tortsy holds that line for good use, and Forrester does trade it through onto JDC's. And for now, Zershit, oh, the bomb has been interrupted, down to 1 HP, still alive, still standing, and that's what matters. Tortsy will try and move across, but he builds time for Shui to get himself that kill across. And Elian all by himself, there's literally nothing he can do apart from fall back.
That's such an interesting dynamic about this map because there are very few places to hide in when you're planting the bomb. Yes, it's easy to take the site, but also it's very difficult to get the bomb down. So you need to clear all the way through highway. You need to have all members on board, all scrubs available in the operating room to carry out the procedure of planting the bomb. And that's what ended up costing them. Forrester, I do like the fact that he was very careful about it. He actually interrupted the bomb plant before the spray started coming through because he recognized that he had low HP. But it still doesn't work out in their favor. Regardless of the effort that Forrester can pull through, regardless of the fact that he got 2 entries all by his lonesome on 2 separate bomb sites, it still goes heavily in the favor of the mouz NXT side, and they can still keep 3 players alive and kicking. Now, economy's starting to build up. But the T's, that's not what they're worried about. They need to put a round on the board, and they're going to be playing the split style of play over towards B, the bomb dedicated to the B site, while 2 players will try to fish out information, perhaps get an easy duel on the A site, but they're going to have to go past Torchy if that's their goal.
Definitely won't be an easy affair when Torchy's involved. JDC as well has got the right idea. Elian is very low. A lot of nade damage being inflicted to him early on, but still recovers with a kill. Now, how does that affect the movement of mouz? Shane snuck into this boost angle, and Forrester won't expect it. Lackey won't check it either. If you're picking this map, you at least must expect them to check these angles, but they do not. And mouz, this is very reminiscent of their dominance over onto Dust 2. This is very likely to be a 5th round for them.
Yeah, Elian with 15 points of health. Even the previous round, he just had to save because he didn't stand a chance, and unfortunately for him, this isn't the same case because he's got 45 seconds on the clock. And saving for that long with 15 points of health, I'm not too sure about that, buddy. You've got the bomb. Perhaps if you can clear out the B site, that's a chance at a bomb plant and a little bit more money to work around with in the next round. Just carry some of the spoils of war over, but this is going to be a deadly peak. Elian, okay, you've carved yourself out a niche that you can sit in, and the bomb should start to go down.
Well, this is exactly the player you want to have in this endeavor, isn't it? Elian. Not much health though, 2 Qs to his name. I think he's been given off the audio Q from Torchy, and we'll check around that corner, but he himself has shown his card. Nade going out to lure him out. Aggressive peek, but the nade will make him move out of position. Finds a shot, 5 points of health, still alive and standing. One shot now required for Shane, but does he expect him to be on site? Yes, he does. Yet another set of flames have been dropped. Smoke drawn, and he knows he's low. He knows he can't peek through the flames, and Shane has played this perfectly. He has a kit, he's got the defuse, and he doesn't need to challenge Elian.
Elian got it very close, and it's the same case as Dust 2. Elian wanted to somehow carve himself out of this situation, somehow pull forward, but that simply doesn't come to fruition. He didn't have the HP to work with it, and the Molotov also gave up his position. But man, that is a brutal spray down from Shen, as we did end up seeing in the replay. But if you want to see who that replay is powered by, you can go ahead and check out Pinnacle. You can go ahead and check out Trustly. Trustly, it is a payment gateway that doesn't require any cards, an app download, or any registration. You can make your payments flow quickly from account to account. So if you want to make payments as quickly as mouz, NXT, or decimating Entropiq right now, I'm sorry, you can go ahead and check them out. But if you are going to check out Trustly, if you are going to go ahead and check out Pinnacle as well, maybe you can make a deposit through Trustly. So you can check out 2 partners with one little endeavor of effort.
I wonder how Entropiq are feeling, though. I wonder if they feel as smashed as they currently look from the outside, at least, right?
Mm-hmm.
The first map, they lost in a very decisive fashion. A map which they were probably thinking, hey, this should be pretty easy for us, right? Well, think again. mouz putting question marks into their brains, making them worried about the potential of this whole endeavor. Entropiq, though, they're willing to split across the map to find individual advantages, but the duels don't ever go in their favor, it seems like. mouz, NXT yet again come out ahead with a kill going to Torchy's hands. But I think Entropiq may have lured enough players towards the other side of the map as they do head onto the B site. JDC there and waiting. Will be hidden in time. Pushes through. Shot does connect from Pinnacle back. Maybe that's their chance. Zershan shows his angle, but he falls back instead. Bomb to go down, and it's up to 4 men of mouz NXT to go for the retake.
Oh, that's a brutal wallbang angle, and Torchy's been able to pick up 2. So Lackey and Elian once again playing from the back foot. This uphill battle that Entropiq constantly have to fight, it's not one that they're able to get through. They just don't have the climbing gear to get through it. Lackey, he's nudged himself into the cubby. Quick headshot comes through. Torchy's been taken away as well, but Exertion, he's got it.
Yeah, I don't know if we can move the camera because Lackey's right now doing the splits. Can we quickly? No, no time. Oh well. Lackey was doing the splits there as he died. Sorry to put a whole dent into that whole scene. After all, it was a beautiful retake from mouz NXT, right? They were ahead in numbers initially. Entropiq had a good chance to get themselves on the site, but they never had really enough time or ground to put themselves onto the back alley there, onto the B site, which never gave them enough space to feel comfortable on the post plant. It was always mouz NXT with the map control.
It's almost brutal how many places you can spam that bomb plant angle. Oh, hold that thought. Oh, I think Elian spots something.
No, I think it's behind the wall onto the other side of that area.
It's a bit hard to see with the X-ray, especially because of the color scheme of Ancient.
Yeah. I think he's just hiding out. It's not really possible to see that opponent from that angle from ramp. But if JDC pushes out further, then maybe. But yeah, see from that angle.
Yeah, I'm gonna get back to the thought that I was talking about earlier because I think this round is about to get juicy. A smoke comes out from JDC, so that'll at least keep them at bay for a little while longer. Shui.
Was that through the smoke?
No, that wasn't. That was just Lackey being peeked into. I think the smoke actually bloomed after the kill. I wasn't able to quite catch that, but Entropiq, in the grand scheme of things, it seems like they're heading on over to the B site. This is not something where they've had a lot of success, but maybe they can turn things around. Oh, that wallbang angle is brutal, man. It's too much.
JDC will never lose his duels. I think we've established that already. Although Elian is still another beast of his own, still performing like a madman, and Forrester this time around holds his ground against Shane. Can JDC bring out the madness again for mouz NXT like they require him to? Nickelback hiding in that corner. Torchy will be able to capitalize on that positioning from JDC. Doesn't fall for no reason, but he's now left in that 1v2, peeking through. Misses out on the first shot, draws out the pistol. Elian as well has to pull the pistol through. touches the bomb, but Forrester doesn't shy away from aggressing through the smoke. Entropiq, at least they put their mark now on the map scoreline.
And that's a lot better than we think it looks like on the scoreboard, because the money for the CT side has been taken out of their hands. It's been snatched away. It's just JDC and Shui. They might be able to have something. Actually, not even JDC. He just has a deagle. He's been very successful in these duels, but because of drops and because of just heavy investments from the CT side in terms of utility, they've ended up carving themselves into an economic pit. The bomb has been left behind, so maybe some indecision will be here until they can actually spot one out. Forrester, I think Ring Around the Roses might be the name of the game here for Forrester, because he's been crept up on, and Shen wins the duel. That's an AK, and that's a bunch of armor to work with as well.
Yeah, and instead of having just one rifle and around this two, which makes their situation a lot easier. And as you said, there's a lot of armor to go around for the Mouz NXT side. So there's still a lot of opportunities for them to stay ahead. That flash from Zershan was perfect, on point. Krad, there was nothing he could do. Had his elbow in front of his eyes. JDC now has got a tough task ahead of him with that deagle. He doesn't even care. He doesn't care. He's up against two rifles. He doesn't care he's all by himself, because he knows the cavalry is about to arrive, and so the Shui and Zershan. The Pinnacle odds reflect this perfectly. Mouz are here to stay.
I love how JDC wants to go for the AK-47 on the ground, but he's like, you know what? No, it's too out of range. Let me just pull out the deagle first and get a kill with that, and then we'll see about it. I actually picked up the deagle, the AK, far after the round was over. Oh man, can you see that little attempt? He reached for it, picks it up later. Mauser hitting the road running by all means. Entropiq, you can see their economy starting to suffer, but because they've got such a good loss bonus built up, they're not really going to be suffering on that account too much. It's mostly going to be a case of trying to put the rounds on the board. But I do think that Mouz have a vice-like grip on the matter. Watch this be set up.
They're going to start pushing through with the utility being thrown out. Just flashed. A couple of smokes blocking out the right side of the back alley. JDC trying his luck. Nickelback eventually shutting him down. So the top fragger for Mouz is now dropped. Shui quickly making his way towards Cheetah. Zershan as well. Not giving them access to back alley. A really important prospect if they want to hold down to this side. Grad that's challenging though, which means they've got some space to work around with. Numbers advantage as well though. Shui finally shows his mark.
Ooh.
Finds 2 kills. Doesn't get punished. HG grenade thrown out. And now this might be the chance for them to close up the gap. Incendiary at hand, but no. Goes for the peak instead, and Nickelback is able to capitalize. 2 versus 3, and Tortsy might be given some space. Shane as well will move as a unit together, try and find pressure points across their map. They've accomplished it. They managed to get themselves a successful retake in Mouz NXT. They look amazing right now.
I love how you can tell that Mouz NXT, they themselves are so stressed out in the retake, even if it's successful, because a player just tosses the smoke even after they've killed everyone on the bomb. Maybe he just did it for fun and he spotted a smoke on the ground, but regardless. Those are some 2 incredible kills from Shui. I'm not sure if you saw how he snapped onto the target, but he did. It is crazy. Initially, I'll be honest, I wasn't too impressed with Shui when I did see him in his Akko Boars, but right now I think he's gotten a chance to flex his muscles.
And Mouz NXT don't look like they have the coordination of a team that has been formed a month ago. They seem like they've been here for ages. They seem like a well-rounded squad.
Oh, and I think Shen catches Forrester here as well, because he spotted the pixel before. He's anticipating Forrester to be behind the box. Does he get checked out though? Krad in the meantime wants to cook something up on the B-bomb site, but I think the broth has already been cooked by Mouz.
He's got the read. Krad was never going to surprise him in that endeavor. Slightly greedy considering there was no flash to come underway, but Elian putting the AK-47 to the test now. Setting the AWP aside. He knows now the rifle work has to be the dreaming job. Interestingly enough, they give him space. Waiting for Elian to now get himself together with his teammate. Collectively try and withhold this retake. Smoke out. Lackey finding his own kill, looking to peek through. Defuse interrupted, touched again. JDC going for the peek. Lackey able to capitalize on it, and now they know they've succeeded. They figured out the puzzle. They know how to hold the site now. It might have come in too late, but at least they get themselves a second round on the scoreline.
This still isn't the worst deficit in the world, by the way. I do think that Ancient having such easy retakes does favor the CT side a little bit more as far as I've seen, but at the same time, the economy is incredibly hard to take control of. And you can see that being reflected for Mouse's buy. The reason they were able to carry on forward with this is because they got a round off of pistols. Otherwise, we would have been seeing a much closer scoreline. No credit being taken away from Mouse, though, because, man, those retakes, those pistols, everything, it seems to be working out for them. Entropiq. They've already lost a man in the form of Torshi picking up one, but look at where Xerxion's found himself.
Oh no, this could be the counterplay to Entropiq's entire plan. They opted for the mid push. Scope coming through. Forrester expects it. There's no double up from it though, and he will be running away with his life. Nickelback able to capitalize it around the tunnel area. Torsi able to grab out Ellie, and now it's down to 2 versus 4 as they push onto the A site. Shane into that boost position. He hasn't been realized yet, and that's going to be a clean line for him. Double up for that, and that's going to be the double kill for him. mouz NXT 9-2. As soon as Entropiq get a piece, it slapped right off their hands.
That is brutal. You can see why Entropiq are taking a timeout. They cannot find an answer to this. Even when they start snowballing a little bit more, it seems to be grabbed out of their hands, as you mentioned. Just Tortsi and Shen looking so good on the server right now.
And anything grabbed off their hands, grabbed out of their hands, it's just too passive of a verb. It's just slapped off. It's an aggressive retake of what Entropiq has accomplished so far, and you can see how good these guys are feeling about this. Oh, you love to see it. JDC he's loving this. He absolutely is. He's having the day of his life.
Yeah, but if you feel good about your predictions, maybe you can go ahead and head on over to pinnacle.com/odds, where they've got a lovely promotion going on. Deposit 10 euros, get 10 euros back, and but remember, only bet what you can afford to lose, and terms and conditions apply. Back to the game.
Back to the game, but I thought, is Entropiq able to get back into it? Not quite sure. Shane, he's got an off angle here. Forrester will check it, but not quite quick to the trigger. Lucky now with that Mach 10. Close distance could be the difference maker. Shui has been spotted out as well. Actually going to do some damage. Nickelback does get thrown off with that nade, and now Shui will try and move up close to that smoke. But the bomb needs to be collected again into the hands of Entropiq. Still at a numbers deficit, and Tortsi able to put a ribbon on it as well as Elian is snatched off the server. Entropiq, little by little, they're losing ground. Not only in this round, but in this game as a whole. Xerxion's been spotted, and Krad doesn't show his mark. Oh, if that didn't work out for Krad, that would have been ugly. But if he does get the kill eventually, and that does mean that they may have an opening towards the A side. Do we expect Shui still to be here? They've killed 2 players already in this approximate area. Therefore, they feel comfortable. No one else is holding out. But no, Shui, he's just chilling in the back site. And he's able to grab 2 kills easily enough. 10-2 being the scoreline in favor of mouz right now.
I mean, we were wondering if Entropiq could actually get to that 16 on Dust 2, but now the question is whether or not they'll be able to get 16 rounds across the series. Entropiq, you can see signs of desperation now. They just want to sprawl onto the B bomb site. The Molotov will be stopping them right in their tracks. There's so little to be said here because mouz NXT, they are dismantling the opposition. And I love this quick adjustment from mouz. They know that Entropiq, as soon as they show signs of desperation, they can capitalize. Coming in for the flank, Exertion. He's got a bit of a lineup, but not through the smoke. Not quite. Ooh. Lots of damage on the way there, though. Nickelback and Forrest are quite low on HP, and I think Shui wants to test his luck here. Shen, not too successful, but a refrag is on its way.
2 versus 2, still doable for either of the sides. Nickelback and First, they need to hold down their grounds as they nestle themselves into various positions. Trying to catch their opponents off guard, really. That's what they're looking for. No flash coming through, which does give Forrester a clear ground to close out the first kill. Tortzi switches back to an AK, but he's got a crossfire to deal with. Nickelback in that corner. Will that incendiary get to him? Yes, it does. He has to move out. Dice to the flames. Has to move to a different position. Get himself the mark on the bomb. Put the pressure onto Forrester to peek through. He does, but the smoke doesn't fade out in time. Has to push through. Shows his ground, which means Entropiq, they probably got this. They bought the time. We'll give them the victory, but that was very, very close.
That is an opportunity to get onto 5. And yeah, I know what you noticed. Yeah, the body's just bouncing around. He still wants to go for the retake. He's still like, no, trust me, 3 seconds are enough for the defuse. Double digits, man. mouz, NXT, they're not looking like an academy-style roster at all.
Oh no, we sort of knew that we wouldn't be seeing an academy level of play coming through these guys. They've got a ton of experience under their belts already. It's just we didn't know they'd be coming in as strong as they are, so coordinated, so well rounded up in the way they have already, so quickly after they're really being placed together in this current iteration of the roster. It's crazy, but Entropiq putting a go onto the B site. Lucky able to deliver with a first shot. Shuri trying to hold down his ground with a mere deagle. Not going to be so easy, especially with a flash being blown off right in front of his face. It should be a simple hold from Entropiq, considering they've already taken down 2 players and have all of their players still alive. And I wouldn't be surprised if mouz even go for the save here.
Yeah, mouz are just fighting for bonus points at the moment. They've got the good old double digits. I mean, I think they've already gotten themselves into that comfort zone on the CT side, but if I were them, I wouldn't do just that. Because you know that if Entropiq are allowed to be left off the leash, they'll come back in this game for sure. The one thing that does work in the favor of mouz, however, that I do want to mention, is that comebacks, they're probably better off on the terrorist side. With how undecided the side advantage of Ancient is at the moment, Entropiq would probably want to be on the T side second, so they have as many chances at gun rounds as possible. On the other hand, I do think that mouz probably will feel very comfortable on the T side. So that is an opportunity that will work against the favor of Entropiq, but we're just going to have to wait and find out. Wait and see how this all rolls out. Now, 4 Deagles on the CT side. They do have armor, lots of utility being prioritized over MP9s, and Shan, he's got a big task ahead of him.
He does indeed. Forrester's challenging him with that AK-47, but eventually he does have to fall. Zershan puts his mark on Tikrad's head, now being eliminated, but still a difficult ordeal to come back from. Making their way now towards Temple and Tunnel. Tortzi showing his ground, but still getting 1 kill on the process. The bomb is only just going down, and Entropiq, they're struggling to find the space. Alien gets 1 kill in the process, but the room is closing in on him. mouz slowly getting ground and won't allow him to get the bomb down. 11-4 at half-time. mouz NXT, they stop Entropiq's winning streak.
11-4. Barely any rounds in between. They have scraped together. They have scraped the bottom of the barrel for just a few rounds here and there. That's all they've gotten. What was the scoreline on Dust 2? I believe they got 6 rounds?
Yes, 16-6 was the scoreline in map number 1.
Yeah, so Entropiq have broken double digits now across the series. And that's worrying. mouz have looked so controlling in this entire series. Entropiq not being given a chance whatsoever. But they're going for the good old-fashioned armor double down. Mostly aim duels to be found.
It was a pistol round for mouz NXT last time around to get them across the finishing line. Will it be this time? Entropiq putting their mark in first. Double dualies. Love to see them. Nickelback then holding his ground. Headshot connected. We'll look for the second one as well. Zershan, though, will put his mark right into him. Shane as well. Double kill from him. And that could be the B-side take.
That absolutely is. Alien and Forrester, this is a hard retake because now mouz, they've got themselves into great positions. Forrester's been caught out in terms of HP, but now this is suddenly becoming doable. Alien, he's the man you want in these clutches, and now it's favorable. Exertion, Can he hold off 2 wild CTs off the bomb, misses the first opportunity, and that could be it. Forrester, he has a kit as well, so he's choosing to stick it.
It's a wise decision. Xerxon really struggling to find his mark onto Elian there. That standoff, it looked a little bit difficult, right? It looked shaky. It seemed like Entropiq got the initial kills, but mouz still was able to get the numbers advantage onto the site. But the retake from Elian was pretty spicy, if you say the least. So at least they have something else to say about this before they go down. And they will have a chance to come back.
They've got to be careful about their economy, though. They cannot lose too many players, because mouz, all they need is a hint that there's a sign of a weakness of the Entropiq side. One gun missing, a bomb site having only 1 player, anything of that sort, and you know that they're going to be able to capitalize on it. With JDC, Shui, basically everybody chiming into the level that they are, it's very hard to hold down the line. And mouz, they're looking to make a bit of a dent on the B site. Not going to happen just yet, because Krad is going to be doing some hammering of his own. JDC eviscerated from the server, and should mostly be smooth kills across the board. Lackey, oh, he's playing on 16/9 for sure, because Lackey can spot it in the corner of his eye, his peripheral vision, basically an ultra-wide monitor.
Some amazing shots being brought out from mouz and NXT, but, you know, their chances are definitely low when it comes. Yeah, just one, you know. I thought there was potential there as well. But, no, Entropiq, they're going to cleanly wrap this up. I'd like to ask you something while there. Do you think Entropiq have the mental fortitude to bring things back, to close out this map? They look tired. They look a little bit annoyed that this is the situation right now. They don't quite feel in the game, and you can see it currently in their faces.
I think Entropiq absolutely have the mental fortitude to come back into it, and this is because they're a team that's no stranger to comebacks. They've got thousands of hours of experience doing just that. And, well, maybe not thousands of hours of comeback, but at least attempts at it. So I don't think mental fortitude is the big problem here. I mean, they are starting to have a bit of an updraft. 11-6. That deficit isn't entirely debilitating, but I think Forrester might just get caught out in his attempt to throw out utility, and that is exactly what happens. Torchy does not miss his mark if he's got his crossers on you.
And that can be the A-site take as well. Smoke, maybe a gap around it. Shui, does he account for it though? Nickelback lines up for it. Entropiq, they're given a gift. And it's got their name written all over it. How does mouz deal with this now? I think their tempo has completely been stopped in its tracks. Torchy just needs to bring out individual brilliance here, or else it'll be over. JDC does want to have a part in this party. Lucky though, has got to deal with 2 players here. How does he isolate them? How does he get these kills? They are. But JDC spots his elbow and will be able to shoot it down until he dies. mouz and NXT, they're back in it, and the score is 12-6.
Not only are they back in it, they might have just pushed Entropiq off the swings as well. Because just look at the money. It's few and far in between. They've just got some loose chains that they can maybe scrape together M4s with, and that's not looking too good for them. Just 4 rounds between them and the finish line. Entropiq, they seem to be struggling. This could be one of their final gambits in this series, because they've bought down completely once again. They've got a couple AUGs, they've got an M4. Nickelback will be receiving the short end of the stick, or the shorter AWP, if you will.
mouz and NXT going for an approach we've seen before. It was Entropiq that attempted this. Can this succeed where Entropiq failed? Boost out. Scope in. Audio cue. Forrester. That's going to be the headshot for him, but he does fall in the process. Lucky looks to peek out. He's going to be punished though. Shane delivers. Entropiq had nothing to do about that. They lose their individual duels, and that's where things go wrong for them. At least Nickelback does collect a weapon that he can work with, but other than that, mouz, They get full control of the B site as they bamboozled their opponents to head towards A. And it's for that reason, it should be a simple cleanup from there.
Yeah, look at this. Nickelback, he wanted to go for this, but Alien's already written that Dear John letter, and he's running away. Wants to go for the save. And this AUG could be a big difference maker, so you know why they're going for the save. They're trying to minimize their chances of coming out with an L. But at this point, even minimizing your chances isn't going to give you too many chances. Nickelback, all he's got is a MAC-10 that he's been able to salvage off of a mouz player. So even that present, it's not been too kind. He hasn't been too generous in giving up weaponry.
He hasn't. It's as if mouz NXT have been given a golden opportunity. But there's also an opportunity, guys, for you to head over to Pinnacle and take advantage over it, because you can bet 10 euros on Esports and get 10 euros in return. But you have, of course, need to use CUB21 as your code upon sign-up. And there are also some conditions that do apply. And for extra information, according to that, you just need to head over to pinnacle.com/welcome. And you have everything you need there.
Three rounds away, mouz. This is the ideal opportunity to hop onto 14, and Torji might just have done that. Krad quickly plucked out of the server, out of the sky. A lightning bolt will hit him in the form of an AWP, and Torchi's going absolutely nuts in this series because he's going 25-8. Now the rotations will come in for the Entropiq side. They've got all hands on deck. And I think this will telegraph the idea that the A site's wide open. Alien, maybe he's taken the AWP out of Torchy, but you can't take the Torchy out of the server because he's already had the impact.
He already has, and I'm sure mouz NXT are well equipped enough to carry things onwards in honor of him. And it seems they've done just that across the map. They went out on their duels. And it seems like Entropiq are a bit spread out, caught off. And there's nothing Alien can do about it. I really hope this isn't just the honeymoon period for mouz NXT, right? I really hope that they can carry this on through across this tournament because it looks impressive. You love seeing these guys play Counter-Strike. Obviously, I've only seen 2 maps of them so far in this tournament. They've obviously played through the play-ins and gotten themselves across. And surprisingly enough, they beat some very talented teams. Spirit Academy, out, 2-0. And I held Spirit Academy in a very high regard. Like, they're all being Geordies over there. There's a lot of experience and a very young talent in that squad that really is surprising to see perform to that caliber. And these guys took them out. Same could be said about Game Elysian. Quashed 16-8 on their first match. And it looks like they're doing it again on a team of a much higher caliber than the ones they placed before. I'd love to see them continue in this fashion because it's very impressive.
They were powering through, that's absolutely correct. But for them to carry on a form that they've previously shown against teams like Spirit Academy and take it over to Entropiq as well, that's surprising. I don't think anybody could have anticipated something of that sort. Now, Entropiq want to be a bit more proactive in how they take this. And Nickelback and Lackey, they can quickly double up, and the dual Dragons will make sure that mouz do not have a fighting chance in this round. Shui and Shen, I mean, they're still alive, but what can really be done off of this?
You know what, as long as they're alive, I have a feeling that they're going for every single shot that will be given to them. You can see that reflected by Shane's kill just now. They don't have much health, but I still believe they will challenge their opposition. I still believe that they will go and try and go for kills. It will be a difficult task, especially considering Nickelback has got Shui's number. He's got an idea of where he could get approached from.
Dialing it in. Dialed.
Yeah, and he backs out from it, so it looks like he declined the call.
Mm-hmm.
Does go to voicemail, though, so it gives Nickelback an extra chance to say hello.
Yeah,
I think he might.
He just might. Yep, there you go, call me back when you do have the time.
Oh, wow. And it's so
look at the odds,
instrumentally
man.
in favor of mouz.
Yeah, 1.061
to 11 point something. It's crazy. And we started things off as a 2 point something to 4 point
something.
something.
Yeah, we are really good with numbers, huh?
We remember the first numbers. We don't have to remember all the digits. But you get the idea,
Pavlos
right?
as he dials in the wrong number.
Oh, yes. Imagine remembering all the numbers there. Like, I cannot do that. I'm really bad remembering phone numbers as well. Back in the day when I didn't have a phone of my own when I was a kid and had to, like, call my parents via someone else's number, like via parents' number when I was at a friend's house or something. I'd always forget. They'd be like, how do we know when to collect? How do we know when your parents will come and collect you? But let's talk about Entropiq, because their parents might need to collect them right now. mouz and NXT are giving them a spanking. Although at least they've lost a player now, Entropiq may have some ground to regain.
This would be such a massive choke if mouz and NXT drop it from here, because they've looked dominant across the series. Entropiq haven't been given a chance to surface from the water and taken a big breath of air, but this might just be that. At least they are being contenders for double digits now, so even if Entropiq end up losing this, it would be a much better affair than what we saw in Dust 2. But that's not what Entropiq are known for, are they? I mean, they are supposed to be the hounds in the Tier 2 scene. Approaching Tier 1 now. Not sure how Torshi picks up an AWP. Hold that thought.
What?
Shen, they've somehow come out on top with the Glocks. I wasn't even paying attention because I thought that this was a done package deal. But this is still a 4v3 that could go the way of mouz. They've got an op for JDC. They've got an M4 for Shen, and the CZ just sweetens the deal. Another kill goes the way of Shen. That just leaves Alien. He's the man you want, but he's the man that will fall. 15-8 somehow with a Glock train. mouz, they come out on top.
That train was going so fast, Entropiq barely got to see it. It flashed through their eyes in a matter of milliseconds, out of their reach. The moment you thought Entropiq may have had a chance to start building up a comeback. mouz and NXT hold up a sign, and in bold, great big letters, there's a word denied written on it. One round remaining for them to close out their series here in the first matchup in the main Swiss of the Pinnacle Cup.
Ooh. Narrowly missing a kneecap there. Torshi does manage to live with his life, but Shen will make sure that for his attempts... Oh no. Torshi, you've gotten a TK. And where that duel was not supposed to go the way of Forrester, it suddenly has, and he's even picked up an AWP in the process. JDC and Exertion, now they're on that 2v3. This is still very well within the realms of possibility, but they're going to have to creep on over ahead from these two AWPs watching the corner, and they're both watching the same as well. A flashbang comes out. Forrester, he's not going to get punished because Lackey, he's got his number. Exertion, he's the second man in Takeshi's castle. Perhaps he's got something to show us.
Anticipating the push, but it doesn't quite go in his way. Entropiq has still got a pinky, holding on to this game. They're slowly trying to put more fingers to clove themselves to get a grab, a solid grab over the series. And it's a little bit far away considering how heavily mouz and NXT are in control right now. Obviously that round doesn't go their way, and now they're forced to a pistol round. So I'm expecting this to be a fast one, but imagine seeing an upset like we did before.
Yeah, Glocks, once again, fool me once, and you know how the saying goes, but Crad, his spray down almost connects. Lots of damage across the T side, but it should be around for Entropiq as long as they can play their cards right, but... Oh man, that is a juicy, juicy nade. Alien, he's going to have to do a little bit more. He's going to have to do it a lot faster because the bomb is starting to take down, and perhaps the AKs can come to fruition. Alien now is equalized in numbers, but the flashbang is perfect, and the spray down is as well. Exertion, he's brought it a lot closer, but Torshi and Shui, they're still alive and kicking. Alien, he's got an AWP. With just a pistol, he could spray them both down, but does he realize this? He doesn't have information on the T's. mouz and NXT, they might just be running away with this. This could be GG for Entropiq before they even get a chance, and it is. The four dreaded letters have been typed in. GGWP as mouz NXT close it out 2-0.
2-0, and also 2 pistol rounds to get them across the finishing line. You can see how happy these guys are about what their result came out to be. That is insane. I don't think anybody anticipated it. It was beautiful. And in a 2-0 fashion, they close out this series. I have no idea what to say about that, Wilderi. That was insane.
I'm not sure what mouz just showed us, because they've stopped Entropiq entirely before they even got to 16 as a series whole. 9 rounds for them on the second map, 6 on the first. It didn't even look like they were the underdog team. It just looked like, yeah, all in a day's work. Yeah, we're the top 20 team. We're just slapping around some kids. Like, that's how easy they made it look. And it's very surprising because Entropiq, they're a team that is so dominant. You can often see Elian just controlling the pace of the game. And even in this case, it's not like he was performing terribly. He was performing a class apart from everybody else. But still, Entropiq, for them to be shut down like that, that is a result that we did not expect at all. They've got to be thinking about going back to the drawing board right now because they have just lost a game in the Swiss stages.
Yeah, and we've seen some games come across yesterday, therefore the leaderboard is as such, and it's mouz NXT to get themselves up with the rest. Skade, Sinners, Endpoint, and Lingby Vikings will be sharing that lead as well. We've got more games coming up next, of course. It is Fiend versus Young Ninjas to be played out, so make sure you stick around for that. But I think I've got one final remark to make about the whole endeavor with Entropiq versus mouz NXT. I feel like Entropiq, there's not much prep they could have done for mouz, right? They don't have too much, they haven't shown too many officials, there are not too many VODs about how they approach the game. While for Entropiq, there's a plethora of sources of how they like to play the game. So I do expect that mouz, together with the coaching staff of mouz Esports, have been able to bring a really, really good, solid plan heading into this game, and it's worked out wonderfully for them. I want to see that consistency through their games here in the Pinnacle Cup, and that would be lovely to see. But Wilderi, any final remarks before we take things to a break, as we will be looking forward to Fiend versus Young Ninjas?
Yeah, I think mouz NXT might have just solidified themselves as the Titan Killers, and if they can somehow keep up this kind of performance, then mouz NXT might just be one of the best investments we've ever seen.
Absolutely, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it. Fiend versus Young Ninjas up next, and we'll see you very, very soon.